I've been asking myself questions for many years. As a young boy, which ultimately ended me up in the penitentiary with more questions. Like, how did we get here? How did a whole city know I was innocent, and yet they let the system take me away for 15 years? What is power? Do black people have power in their community, or are they powerless? How about the law? Have that then been beneficial to our community? Or has it been a weapon used against us to destroy our young black men? And what about the effects of slavery? Do they still affect us to the day? Like when a cop is behind me and I go pull over and my fucking heart pounding out of fear, my blood pressure going to the ceiling. Is this also a part of what's been going on for 400 years? It's a lot of questions I don't know the answer to. Like power, how do we acquire it? Like religion, has religion been good for us or bad for us? Is tapping into your God energy a religious quest, or is it a quest to understand what God has for us to fulfill our purposes in life? Because it looks to me that religion has also been a tool that's been used against us to enslave us, to have us in an inferior position in this country. White supremacy, Jim Crow laws, black codes, redlining, crime bill, war on drugs, all that shit mean destroy black people. I watched in the 90s, they manipulated it so much that predators, super predators, were what we were labeled. Having our preachers, our grandmothers, our loved ones support the demise of our black men through modern day slavery and mass incarceration. This can't be the answer, y'all. It's time that I called upon my God, pleading, begging for him to communicate with me. What's going on? I think I found my answer though. I think the answer lies within us. In that subconscious space, in that universal space. But we have to figure out how to tap in as a collective. And this is what this journey's about. Tapping into that God energy and bringing forth new realities. So as I explore these questions with the Anthony Wade Show, I'm looking for you, the audience, to take this journey with me as we call upon the God energy to answer our quest for power, freedom, justice, and happiness. Come walk this journey with me, y'all. Peace. Hey world, this is Anthony Wade. I'm your host of the Anthony Wade Show. Today we welcoming Dame Dash and Sharon Barber, global, mogul, all the above. I guess, I don't know the details of it all, but the brother's done it all. And today we want to cover how do we bring that energy and that wisdom back to the urban neighborhoods so that the people can thrive, in that space of talent and creation. Welcome, Dame. Welcome, Sharon. Tell me how y'all feel today about touring the city. Y'all came down, showed love to Camden all day long. How you feel?
I love it. I feel like, am I on? The mic on? Hello? Yeah. I feel like you see the relationship, right? Like, and I'm glad that I got to be a part of it because I think early in my life, you was a big influence and you contributed to my success by providing things like this and always having like an outlet and being willing to invest and just participate from an early age. And then now being able to be around Dame and he is doing that same thing. Y'all two different people from two different neighborhoods, but y'all really operating in the same spirit and in the same energy. So to have an opportunity to bring y'all together and to bring Dame here and to watch y'all build and see that synchronicity means a lot to me personally.
Yes, sir, I agree. The brother speak and, you know, he can go for a few minutes and I'm saying, I wouldn't change a word, you know, so me and Dame do have a lot of thoughts about how do we better our generation and our grandchildren, our children's children. How do we make the wealth better for them and then our community worthy of not only, you know, people coming and using our talent for the benefit of themselves and their families, but we using our talent for ourselves and the benefit of our community. So what you say, Dave? What you think about that?
Well, you know, I've been on this thing where we kind of know all of our problems and we also know what the solutions are. But the one thing that I just haven't seen is us just sticking together, you know, and sticking together when we don't have to.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when we're doing well.
Yes.
You know, coming together for a good cause with a solution on the things that are bothering us based on the programming that's been controlling us, that's been dividing us, stopping us from dreaming, you know, giving us the wrong literacy. So, you know, I talk about this often, but I hate that people talk but don't do anything about it. So for me, it's about linking up with like-minded people all over the world, looking for people that are fighting the same way for the same reasons with good taste, that are doing things at a professional level, not just have an idea, but have something tangible, or successful in like a field, you know, to where they're successful enough to come back and help and teach. That exists everywhere. It's just, we never just come together. So in coming to know Sharon, and then him automatically, just based on us talking about changing narratives in business, economically, we both understand, because we're generally from the same environment, the same kind of a struggle, what needs to be done. Yes. And who is actually in the marketplace or within our demographic, who's doing it. So for me, I'm like, yo, if you can't really like help or do something in your backyard, if you're not respected on your block, it's gonna be hard for you to help somebody else.
Right.
So I always like to, when I start to talk to people about bigger plans, I like to go to their hometown. I like to see exactly what they're doing, who they're affiliated with, what their real intention is, if they're walking it like they talking it. So I'm not surprised. I'm just, I'm happy. I was able to, like, I don't bring Dennis McKeezy, the head of the OSG. I'm not bringing him, like, he's a very busy dude.
Yes, sir.
He barely even takes my calls, I'm telling you, because he's always working, and I understand that. For him to stop what he's doing to come out here to meet with the mayor, to see the opportunity, to understand where there needs to be help, where we can show support, that's us walking it like we talk it. That's not triggering people by complaining about the problem over and over again. It's actually doing something. It's not me saying, oh, we never stick together. It's saying, now we're starting to, and let's see what it looks like now. But what comes with that is accountability. So, you know, people come through and they say they're going to do a lot of stuff, but they're out of sight, out of mind. But, you know, for me, I'm a man of my word. You guys have been completely men of your word and have delivered everything and over-delivered everything that you said. There's no wasted time here. And I feel my time has been completely productive. And also, you know, I can see how much y'all really care about the community. Because, you know, you don't have to go back, but you have to go back. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're doing the right thing, not by talking about it, by doing it. You know, when I'm coming through, it's not like I got to go to someone's studio. I'm here. I'm at your studio. And when you come see me, you'll be able to come to my studio. And if we were go to get our passports and go to Turkey, we'd be able to go to his studio.
Yes.
So we're all generals that have great armies that are fighting for the right reasons. You know, sometimes you have to go through pain so the people that you're helping respect you because you fought what they're fighting. So the pain in surviving it is so that you could teach and help those that can't or that aren't as powerful so that you can guide and lead by example. So this is a great opportunity to showcase that. You know, if you're a fixer, then you're looking for problems. If you're a general, you're looking for wars. You know, if you're a creative, you're looking for places to create. You understand the plight of a creative, and if you care, you want to make sure other creatives don't have to go through that. And you also want people to feel supported that deserve it. You want to bring recognition to those that are helping us, because most of the people that are helping us, they're so humble. You know, they don't want it to appear that they're doing it for money, because they're usually not. And more than, you know, usually their big dream is always to help people before they help themselves. But those aren't the people that are celebrated. So if I could come in firsthand and I could actually say I saw it with my own eyes, you know, I walked around with my family. We were able to go to schools, and, you know, I could actually see a blueprint and a path to a roadmap to actually doing something, you know, and then being able to do it with style and taste. And it's good to see somebody come back to their old neighborhood, you know, and inspire other people to do better. You know, I haven't seen Freeway literally in person. I don't even know. It's been decades.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we like talk.
Right, on foot, right.
But we don't really see each other.
Yes.
You know, he goes through a lot of things, and I'm always like that call.
Yes.
As well. But I'm always proud to see what he's doing. But it's odd, like, you know, what tables you end up sitting at and with who, and who brings you to the table with people, how you reconnect with people. But this is the perfect way to do so.
Yes, sir.
You know, so, you know, having a lot of success when you're younger is cool. But having sustainability and understanding what real wealth is and coming back and helping, that's gangster. Yeah. So I just think this is, you know, this is the path that we should all choose. And I'm glad it's documented, because this is what we want to do state to state. I want to link you up with all my resources the same way you're going to link me up with all your resources. And, you know, from state to state, and then it becomes an international thing. Yes, sir. You know, so you don't know what's going on. Like, you know, when you were telling me I got this building, I'm like, what do you mean? You know, I have a studio. I couldn't imagine it. But now that I see it, it's tangible, it's a reality. I wouldn't have been able to articulate all these opportunities to Dennis. I would have had to tape it and show it, right. But he was able to firsthand experience it. And he was inspired, you know? Yes. It's an intelligent guy. So
and so was the mayor in that conversation, and giving direction towards getting with principals as the foundation of meeting the streets, you know, putting the rubber to the road.
I don't think he thought that when we had this meeting that we'd be able to sharpen his knife and make him be a better mayor. And what I liked was that's all he wanted to do, was be a better mayor.
Yes, sir.
So that's when you know you have a good mayor,
yeah,
or someone that's a good leader, when they're like, I didn't even think about that, but now that I do, I know how important it is. Right. So it's necessary. Once you're conscious, you become responsible. Yes. And, you know, especially when you do it in front of other responsible people. Yes. So again, I have to have accountability. You know, we talked about doing a lot of things. We got to do them. So now there's intention. Like, I know we're going to make a movie here, you know, and there's a lot of stories to tell. And
my story, y'all know I got to go first, right?
Yeah. And you have the resources to do it.
Yes, sir.
You know, so all you have to do is bring industry here, and then that also brings economy.
So let's talk about industry a little bit. Like, one of the things that the brother Sharon went and did was create a manufacturer in Turkey. You want to share that? And then, like, how can we connect those dots and bring it statewide, where we can be in Gary and Camden and those places that was written off, but, you know, share that formula where success can be a possibility for everybody.
I found myself in Istanbul, Turkey, because I started doing leather goods and accessories like the jacket that I'm wearing. And what happens is you have like what's considered like human resource or human capital. So the reason I had to go to Turkey is because there's not enough workers in the leather industry in America. So I had conversations with Anthony about, building a manufacturing facility here in Camden, but we have to first train like a workforce. So what we've been talking about now is like, how do I get workers that I have in Turkey or international artisans come here and teach the trade to the community, which takes, months and years to build and ingrain. But once that industry is here, like if you look at what Tyler Perry did in Atlanta with the film industry, right? Like now there's a film industry in Atlanta because he decided, I'm not going to Hollywood. I could be here, I could build here, and I could bring everything to me, and we can make a product. So it's the same thing here. And if you would have went there 15 years ago, you might have had trouble renting cameras. You might have had trouble finding local gaffers that you could hire. But now it's more black people in the film industry in Atlanta than in LA. So it takes time because you got to teach it, and then it becomes generational. Then you have second generational people that's involved with it. So when we talk about it as the whole industry, everything from like retail distribution to manufacturing to design. And it's really not just fashion. It's really just the idea like we can make anything. Like if I met a guy on the plane the last time I was on the plane, and he told me that he makes laminate flooring. And he's like, I buy trees from this continent, and then I move them here by ship, and then I chip those up, and then I make pergo floors, and I sell them to Home Depot. Process, right? You on one continent buying trees, putting them together in another continent, and the guy was worth like, I think like $70 million. You know what I mean? So once we understand how these different products are made and we start to understand processes, we could create industries here. The film industry, the fashion industry, all types of industries, the tech industry. So that's what we're doing. So just reaching out to the community, finding people early. That's why and for me, when we talk about education, it's not just kids, right? Like half the stuff that I know I didn't learn until I was in my 30s. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never too late to start. I started sewing at 34 years old. You know what I mean? I didn't learn, but if I'd have learned how to sew when I was 16 years old or 10 years old, I'd be a problem. Right. You know what I mean? It's the same way, like.
Still a problem.
Once we realize that we can make money off basketball, people start involving their kids in sports at younger ages. You know what I'm saying? Now we realize we can make money in all these other industries. We could be chemical engineers. We could be pharmaceutical engineers. We understand when you mixing different things to put it on your skin, that's pharmaceutical engineering. Where are those plants coming from? Let's get to the source, right? And it takes a community because one person or even one business can't hit every aspect of it. It takes a community of people who want to move forward. And the way the world is going now, we don't need to go to LA. We don't need to go to Atlanta. Right here, we got land. We got human resource, we got opportunity, and we got the internet. Like we can reach anybody, anywhere, instantly. Like a movie that gets shot here could get watched in China. It could get watched anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying? So we have all the tools that we need. And once people pick what they want to lead in and what area they want to be in, is about working together and creating community. Even if we don't have the economic disparity that's needed to move forward, we gotta utilize the barter system. If this person got camera and you act, and then this person is a screenwriter, find ways to work together, find ways to break it down so everybody can build what they got to build, until you attract whatever else you need. Because at some point, somebody going to come and the only thing they got is money. And they're going to say, I can't do none of this creative stuff, but let me put some money behind what y'all doing. It's all resources. You're just gathering resources to build what it is that you want to build.
So I like that barter system concept here. We follow a principle of independence. Your product or your service is yours, but as a collective, we come together and offer that as one, and I think it becomes stronger as opposed to being individuals trying to make it on your own. The collective is going to allow that muscle to be stronger and allow us to grow. So tell me more about your desires to work with urban communities, or I shouldn't say urban, just communities, period, and enrich our type of people, to Sharon, who have went global and created, that vertical business model, owning the place of manufacturing it and get it to the end retail place. Like that's a beautiful thing. And I don't know, to the people in the audience and stuff, when we saying this jacket costs $5,000. I don't know if anybody aware of that, but it's high-end fashion that we speaking to. Everybody love Gucci and Louis Vuitton, But right from Camden, we got Sharon Barber. And we need to not only acknowledge that, but start supporting that. We don't need Europeans to co-sign us. We need to start co-signing ourselves and creating for ourselves and supporting ourselves. And not in no cliche way, but really getting to the core of understanding business models, because there's a lot of fashion people in here. And I'm almost hoping and sure that Sharon gonna call y'all and y'all greater character forward to bring y'all talent forward so that that global connection can occur, but right here from the city. But I'm sorry, I'd rather have y'all build than I talk. I want to hear y'all speak. But yeah, to that, coming to a community and wanting to see that community do better. What do you advise that community to start doing and moving things forward without going through, the normal channels? Ownership. Let me go there. Collab is 4 principles that we practice: law, self-awareness, ownership, and community. Those 4 principles is a must. So I do want to ask both of y'all about your reflection on those principles.
So my intention is for the urban communities to be able to bring other communities, other cultures other than our own, but for us to be the landlords. So it doesn't mean we don't want white people.
Right.
It means we want them, but we need to be owning the bricks that everyone is creating it.
Yes.
And that's usually not the case. We want to be able to pass laws and have the power to, because nothing matters in this country. Opinion doesn't matter unless it's a law.
Facts.
You can complain about it all day. It's illegal until it's a law. So the intention is to come and own the buildings that people do business in by creating the industries. So if you own a building like this, then you turn it into a movie studio. And now you create industry, a hub where people can make money, know that this is a destination to eat, but also to shop, also to live a certain way, right. And I'm gonna be honest, like me, when I hear like a block is too wild, I'm not going back, I don't care. I'm just more scared of my own people than I am of other people. And that's messed up. But white people don't care. If there's a deal, they'll go to Brooklyn, Marcy, they'll go anywhere. Gentrification. So why not, you said we could smoke, right?
Yeah.
So why not own the bricks, bring them, make the laws, and then we're not complaining. We're creating nepotism. We've been tricked into thinking that everything that they're selling us isn't already ours. Our skills, our swag, our sports, and we gotta wait, all of that. So I got one. So that's my intention, is to go into a place where there's black public officials, get some laws passed, tell us where those pockets are, where we can buy up everything. Just like y'all got a whole block. And you can do what you want with it, but you're choosing to say, yo, let's turn it into an art district. Yeah. But you could do that.
Yes.
If you could say, I could turn this into a district, that's power. That's real power, to own the bricks. Most people are fighting for bricks that they don't own. They have entitlement because they were born there. It's not theirs. How could you say it's yours and you don't own it?
Right.
How could you say you should be able to hustle on this block because you was born there? It don't matter where you born. If you don't own that brick, those bricks, it's not yours.
So that was
We've been tricked into fighting for things that we don't own. Yeah. For real.
That was one of
like, this is my block. Like, how? It's not
that.
your block, but now this is really your block.
Yeah, when you own it, it's yours.
No, I came on your block. Right. Like, it was great. This is where I grew up. But I own this block, though. I own all these buildings. This is my block. You can't say this is your block unless you, you stunted on me all day, Sharon. All day. And this is what I like to see. Yeah, I heard about it. And it's a quiet splash that he does. It's, he shows and proves. Let me just pull up to the block and show you something. I own every building here, like real light. That's dope talk. I like that. And it should be contagious. Mm-hmm. And to come back to your own block and buy it, that's the dream. And to do right by it, that's the dream. How funny it is that like now we're sitting in rooms with mayors based on where we were from. That means anybody can get there. And the world changes if you can survive it. If you could stay here long enough, if you could be healthy and breathe long enough, you will learn, unless you're really a moron. But after I'm like 52 years old, I should know something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you both.
You know what I mean? Like, if we were dumb, that'd be like ridiculous. Like, we've been here too long. We must be smart enough to survive.
Yes.
So you're also smart enough to go through every single thing that you didn't like that made you strong, making sure that your daughters don't have to go through it. That's the most important thing, is to break that cycle. Mm-hmm. And also to showcase what it looks like to love yourself. Not to protect yourself, but to really love yourself, because you can't love nobody unless you know how to love yourself. And we never even visualize what that looks like not to be struggling. So that's another thing that I'm showcasing. I'm like, yo, I'm not struggling.
Right.
I got a family, but this is what I'm doing. Right. This is what it looks like to be in love for a living. Mm-hmm. To find a partner and make a baby and stay with them. And enjoy yourself and not feel like you're missing anything. Because every second with my child is the most important. I want to watch his fingernails grow. Yeah. I want to see hair grow on him. You know what I mean? I got to see every bit of the process, because you know how quick it goes. Yes. Like after 13, 14, they're grown. Yeah. They think they're grown. Right. You know, they're not grown till they pay their bills, but they want to be adults at that point. You miss those days, but you want to make sure they're prepared.
So in my situation, I was falsely accused of the murder, but it was literally 2 weeks my daughter was born. I only had 2 weeks with her. So I missed all that process. And now, you know, you see my little guy, they hung out with your son.
I see you marinating.
Yeah, to have that experience.
We like the same age with kids,
yeah.
You know? Yo, sometimes it takes till you're 50 to get it right. But once you get it right, if you never experienced it, if I would never have experienced being able, because I got 5 kids. 4 adults, really.
Right.
It's like, when they're not your kids. But I didn't get to raise them. It was dysfunctional. I didn't break that cycle that I went through. And the thing that always hurt me the most was my mother arguing with my father. And I gave that pain to my 4 kids. I didn't even know what it would look like to be in love with my wife and be wanting to be with my kid every day and not visit them. If I would have missed that, every single thing I would have done would have been in vain. Having a family is more important than anything in this world, and that's the currency, the love. You know, I always say money's man-made, and I'm not going to be a slave to no man or nothing man-made. Right. But I will be a slave for God and God's love. Yeah. And that's my currency, and that's the only thing I could take with me. Right. It's the only thing I feel from those that have already transitioned. I can still feel them, you know?
Righteous.
So that's what I'm hustling for. We've been tricked into thinking that money is what we have to survive. Like, yo, a bill could get paid late. I don't care about credit.
Where that guy at? There's somebody that need to hear that in this room.
Calm down. Pay it late.
This man get his money and he'd be like, I got to pay my bills, Mr. Ways. I was like, what about making it work a couple times, or, you know, figuring out how to make it grow before you give it to some bill collector?
Yo,
or just don't stress it. Just spend some time with your kids. It works it out.
I got a new office manager. Like the old office manager I had, I hired a woman who came from like privilege, and she understood business. But I remember I gave her like access to the operating budget, and the first thing she did was pay all the bills.
And I know you was like,
and I looked at the account like, what's going on? And she was like, I paid everything. And I was like, why? I was like, we operate in the red. Like my back is against the wall. Like, we pay the bills later.
We gotta get this stuff together.
Yeah, we gotta flip that money 3 times.
But you cannot be working. You can't say it's no bills. I'm gonna play a video game unless streaming is gonna
we
pay
ain't
you.
talking about that nonsense.
You know, sometimes it's like, all right, I'm cool. Let me just work.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to you.
Forget the credit score. You get that back up in 3 months. You know,
I'm gonna get to you.
Gotta do it. But that's what being an entrepreneur is. It's that you got to be uncomfortable with timing issues, and also with not ever being able to look at no bread. But you got to have cash flow. But it's also about never panicking. You know, it's to know that it's gonna get rough.
All right, so here go a question for me. Between the two worlds of being independent from the system, but at the same time trying to scale. So I heard you speak to credit, but at the same time I heard you speak to you using your own money when you building most of your brand. Where that road at? Where does it meet?
It meets when I buy a house, cash, and then I leverage it for credit and invest that in my businesses.
So you
Like I don't have.
you buy the house value, make sure the value.
You buy a
goes up,
house
scale
cash,
it.
you could get a loan from it, and then you could get, put that into your dreams.
So now that there go a model he just shared with y'all. Buy a house, especially us in the city.
A little
Fix it
house,
up. The value is going to double or triple. Go get a line of credit against that property, and then build your plan, your dream. And this is a model, several, but a model on how to
That's from a guy that has been cash and carry because of tax problems since 2005. It's been cash and carry since then. Credit lines was over. See, back in the day, you had these like bookkeepers, like a Bert Padell or someone like that. That the art of overdraw was like credit. So I could be blanked out, but just still be moving, have $1 million moving like that. Because they knew I was going to get it. Because when you're a businessman, it's about catching a lick. You invest, lose until you make money. So what Sharon has done that's been amazing is that he can sell a jacket for $5,000. That means his brand is A1. It's a brand that people feel like, yo, when I wear this, it means 5,000, whether you know it or not. He hasn't compromised his brand. Now, he do something corny, it might not be 5,000 no more. So he's remained cool. And the integrity of his process is he's not like what he said that's important about fashion. I guess you might have said at the high school was at first you were putting your brand on stuff that blanks, but that's not fashion. And then you learned the process of fashion, what made you go and run around the world. That's art. That's process. Some people literally think they want to be in fashion and start that way and then realize, nah, you got to cut and sew and make patterns and you're not even respected unless you're a craftsman, unless you look at it like an art. No one's going to respect you in the world where they look at it as an art. You don't even know that world exists until you get in it.
Right.
But once you get in it, if because of who we are and because most swag and everything style comes from us,
yes.
Once we know how to manage it in that form, put it on a calendar, we're usually better at it.
Right.
And we're at a unique time when, and I was telling him when I first started, I consider myself like Melly Mel or something, a pioneer of fashion, of black fashion. But at that time, we couldn't sell nothing past the price of Rockwear, which is why I went into designer. Okay. But, when Tommy Hilfiger put black people in his ads, his stock went down.
Right.
Black people didn't buy aspirational stuff from black people. Yeah. But with Virgil and Kanye and guys like Sharon, this is a unique time that black people really respect other black designers and will pay a lot of money for them.
Yes.
So I'm like, nah, we need a new Jeff Hamilton, a black one. Why wouldn't we have one? We have a master craftsman that's in Turkey with the mask on and beating up belt buckles and the hot stuff. And, he really doing it.
Yeah.
You got to respect it.
Yes.
That's why I came out here. I was like, I got to respect it. What I'm seeing, what you're doing, you're moving around, you're making product, you're doing business. He has the intention of bringing us. This is what I've been trying to do for years, is bring us all together. But we never. He respects he knows he's designer fashion. He don't need nobody to tell him.
Right.
We don't need no validation for that.
Right.
And we can be LVMH. And we could turn, if we felt like it, we could turn Campton into Paris.
Right.
Just by doing Fashion Week here. Just by doing expensive stuff here and making sure that it's known. Right. But the government, like he was saying, the government funds Fashion Week in Paris. So we need the government to fund some cool stuff here, just for marketing purposes to break the stigma. Or for people that, like in London, they make Camden sounds like British.
Right.
So it sounds aspirational internationally. You know, a building is a building. You know, when I came into this environment, I'm like, this is like a whole world.
Yeah.
This is like a whole city within itself. It's a neighborhood.
That's how I feel about it sometimes.
It's what it is. You can do whatever you want here, and whatever's going on in the rest of the world won't even matter. You got like a whole Wakanda up in here.
Yeah, well, that's what we need to build, that magical world.
Like you could do fashion in here and do a factory, just a miniature boutique atelier. You could do all that here. A movie studio, you doing it here, and a school, and a hotel. You could do everything here. This is like, you know how many movies I can make in this room?
Well, we can make them, bro. That's what we're here for, to figure that out.
But that's the point. But also the distribution is key.
Yes.
So that's the other thing that we don't own that we're trying to make sure we master. Once you make it, if you got to kiss ass to get it seen, it hurts just the same.
Right.
If you got to make clothes and we got to kiss ass to get into Bergdorf Goodman one store, you know, we shouldn't have to do that. We can establish our own Bergdorf Goodman. We can make our own stores. We can make our own factories. If we are, and we can, I mean, it's really easy if we stick together.
Yes.
It's really easy. And it's really good when people have different specialties because you're staying in your own lane. Like you said, like if we can get someone that's a master at making buttons, that person is good. Every single product here that he's telling you, if it's at a professional level, whoever made these plants is probably a millionaire, these fake plants. Because they got a factory and they're doing volume of it. It has to be bought.
Right.
When you make a movie, every single thing that you see in your brain, you have to actually architect it being seen. Mm-hmm. If you want a bug in the shot, you got to go get a bug, if that's how you visualize it. Yeah. Every little thing in life has to be made and bought. There's a customer for everything. So there's not a lack of things to make or to sell. It's just a lack of knowledge on how to do it. So when someone like Sharon or myself, when you know an industry and you come back and teach it, that's the responsibility, and that's how an industry grows, and that's how you create partners. You create generals, not soldiers. And that's what we're looking to do.
Yes.
You know, when we were at the high school, I was telling them, like, yo, I'm hoping to one of y'all be a partner. Mm-hmm. I want you to teach me something. I'm old. I'm not outside every day.
Right.
But if you're going to be outside every day, I'm going to tell you everything I know. So you don't have to learn the hard way. But once you learn it, come share so we could just get it distributed before they do.
Yeah.
You know, it's a damn shame we have conversations that a record label, not from our culture, their intention right now is to find drill rappers, people that are making music about killing their brothers.
Right.
That I mean, like, if we gonna do that, that's one thing. But they doing it. It's like, yo, find some brothers killing each other and rapping about it. Because that's what's making money right now. We got to control that narrative. You know? That's all that's been leveraged is our dysfunction. The visuals of us doing positive things is never shown on their platforms.
Right.
And if I was them, I wouldn't do it either. Right. But they're coming from a place of fear. When we're in control, we'll show everything because we're not scared of y'all.
Yes.
We'll help you.
Yes.
But they think we're going to put them back, you know, because back when we were running things, we weren't that nice. And they did a good job of being like, for the next 1,000 years, no more of this. You know, and I'm talking about the Moors and that and the third, but you know, they don't tell us about the history when we were kicking ass. That's the shit they want us to forget. That's what they don't teach us in the schools, and why would they? You know, why would they say, yo, there was a time that y'all were in control, but we had to erase all your history, take your religion, you know, give you the European version of Yahshua's name, so you can't get no full blessing and be like fighting about it. It's a good plan. But when you figure it out, it's your responsibility just because you've been taught something your whole life to break that pattern. That's the test.
So now how we break it? Well, I know we go ahead and wrap up. How you see it being broke? How do we break that?
But that we are breaking it now.
It's already broken.
Good stuff. I understand that point, and I understand even when you speak to it as the future truth, it becomes the physical reality. So I understand that point. Yeah. So
and now it's time to, like, when we talk about community building, like, I've been all over the world, right? Just looking for like answers, right? Like what I'm trying to build, what I'm trying to get at. And what I realized is, like, let's say I'm building a house, any kind of house, a fashion house or a physical house or a restaurant. It's like I could build that idea anywhere.
Right.
Like I could build it in LA, I could build it in New York, I could build it in Turkey, I could build it here. Mm-hmm. right? So it's important that as we have visions for things that we want to do, don't hesitate to build it where you're from, because that's what makes a community. Like, for me, I was telling Cakes, like, yo, I want to, like, I have a crib here that I don't live in, right? But I'm like, I want to make that crib nice and start living in it. But then there's issues like, I'm like, yo, where's the Whole Foods at? Where's the Trader Joe's at? Where is the spot where we could go kick it after this and sit outside and eat a steak on the sidewalk? You gotta have your luxuries
of life.
Right. So as entrepreneurs in here and creatives, we got to start to imagine what those spaces look like and utilize our resource to start building them. Like, it's abandoned, it's space. We don't have to go to Cherry Hill to do nice stuff. We can make nice businesses. Like, my thing is, I'm not going to Philly to buy a vegan cheesesteak if it's a vegan cheesesteak spot on Mount Ephraim. That's good. I'm going to grab that. So we have to become the change. Like, you know what, I always wanted to have a mentor like Dame, right? And you know when I met Dame, when I started carrying myself in the light that I thought he would carry himself in. And then you attract that. You attract whatever you are, right? So it's like, if you want to live in a certain type of neighborhood, you got to build your house to look how you want your ideal house to look. Then the neighbor like, well, shit, he gonna do his yard, I'm gonna do my yard. Then it's like, if we both gonna do the yard, they need to come, then the government come, they fix the sidewalk up, then they fix the street up. Then you be like, yo, we just want a spot where we could chill on the weekends. And I don't even want to, like, I ain't going to clubs, I ain't going to lounges. It's like, I want to go up there, drink a glass of wine, I want to sit outside when it's warm out, and I want it to be like an art walk.
Yeah.
You know, they over here, they selling they different things and feel safe and feel like this is our community and we could just build it in any way. Like Mount Ephraim, I was looking at like the old theater, like there's a Cambridge there. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the fuck they got in there that they selling, but we need to grab that and turn it into a theater. Like a real theater. Like it's a theater in our city, but they done converted the theater into like a discount store. Yeah. We need to get that, put them out, and put a theater in there for us to do theatrical things.
And then make Broadway.
Exactly. And it could be right here, because everybody in here is here because they want to, and you know, you want to see progression. You want to see what's going on.
How that stimulates the economy. Now people are building sets. There's actors here. There's directors here. Things need to be things get broken. There's people to repair it. There's things that be bought. That's how it happens.
Because what happens next is you have the people who live in Cherry Hill or who live in Morristown or who live in Voorhees who want to be in the film industry, and guess where the film industry is closest to them? Camden.
Right.
Guess who got the best vegan fast food restaurant? Is in Camden. And like he said, them white people, they start to feel comfortable. They'll line up for them products. And now we selling the product to them. Because we got undermined in a lot of ways. Like the original civil rights movement wasn't about integration. It was about segregation with equal taxation.
Right.
Meaning we'll pay the taxes, but let us hire the police officer that we want to use. Let us fund our own school. Let us fund our own hospital. But we got tricked into a form of integration. And the reason they did that is because when they start saying you can't eat at this restaurant, you can't go to this hospital, we said, okay, we gonna build our own hospital. We'll create our own restaurant. And what happened is we started empowering ourselves. And we started empowering ourselves at a rapid rate, and they seen how that money circulates through our community. They said, hold up. We got to stop this. So they came in and said, you know what, we'll give you a job. You can work for us now. Come work for us again. And then by doing that, they recaptured our dollar, and it stopped us from building what we was going to build. And we got derailed for a long time. But
and it made them the boss.
Right.
Took it to the suburbs, created supermarkets. Instead of the local economy being strong, it became a national with like a Walmart, of course, Kmart and stuff like that back then. And then even global because they taking it offshore. This is my desire so much to bring manufacturing here, and I hope we can figure it out. Last thoughts. What's up? Share your last thoughts, bro.
We here, like everybody in here, like it's a system in place already. Anybody in here who needs access to anything or anybody is a phone call away, and we're gonna build things, build amazing things, and it's gonna happen here. It's gonna happen in the Bronx. It's gonna happen in Detroit. It's gonna happen in Chicago, and it started here. Like this is, this was a initial step, and we're gonna build a global.
The beginning of the takeover.
Yeah, it's a global network. It's an absolute global network because there's nobody. I got access to. Between me and him, we got access to everybody, every resource, right? And people are ready to play their part and start contributing. And if they don't, we gotta start to write those people off and just focus on the people who are community driven. So if you got two groups of people and one group is willing to help, then that's who you rock with. Fuck everybody else. You know what I mean? And that's what we doing.
So under collab, we covered them 4 principles, but any last words, bro?
Let me leave you with this. It's a question and then an answer. This is what I've been thinking about lately. Heaven is where you want to go, right? What does it look like to you? And not a feeling. What does heaven look like when you wake up to when you go to sleep, if there's sleep in heaven? What does that look like?
So I don't know, I ain't clear on the question, but let me answer it like this. I know when I close my 5 senses, it's a beautiful space where people are loving on each other and the frequencies and the vibrations of connectivity is clear in there. The negative part of what exists between prejudice and separation don't exist. It's a pure space, you know, beyond.
Let's say heaven had houses in it. What would your house in heaven look like?
A big, beautiful mansion.
So then you have to create everything you want in heaven here. That's how much you have to visualize. Because, you know, heaven is subject to the individual. If there's no weed in heaven, if there's no music in heaven, if there's no women in heaven, it might be hell for me.
Right. Right.
So I have to create that emotion, what I want to live in as well, what I want around me, everything. I got to be able to create it here to expect to have it there.
Understood. So be it. Create it, love it, and then be it. Is that what I heard from y'all brothers? Absolutely. All right, this is the Anthony Wade Show. I'm a live nigga from Camden, New Jersey. Nah, listen. Oh, y'all know what? I ain't asked no question. I'm sorry, y'all. If anybody want to shout out 2 or 3 questions real quick, I know that, like, y'all got the brother. Yeah. Any questions, anybody? Yes.
Hello, my name is Amira B. Co-director with my partner CC King on the independent film Picture Boy. And our question is, on a road to independency and freedom, what advice would you give to monetize and sustain that type of living?
So the question that I was asking everyone that asked me a question in the high schools was, and I just want to give you rules to this question. I'm going to ask you what your dream is. If you're going to ask me a question, I want to know what your dream is. But your dream can't be an emotion, has to be selfish. It can't be that kids eat and all this other stuff. A selfish dream. The perfect visual of what you want your life to be. What's your dream? And then I'll understand your question.
Yes, my dream is to heal myself enough, and also to heal urban community.
Remember I was saying the selfish thing?
Selfish.
See, that's because that's the cop-out dream for everybody. That's where everyone goes with it all the time.
I love it. I want to heal enough to be happy here, right now.
Your dream is to heal right now?
And be
I'm
happy.
already healed.
So what's your dream? That's something you don't have.
Yes, no problem.
I'm gonna give you an example. I want to be the black Louis Vuitton.
Okay, I love that.
I want $1 billion.
And again, it's a reference point. My dream is to be Walt Disney right now.
Right.
Right. I want to be the Tyler Perry of Camden.
There you go.
Writer and director. Yes, thank you.
And that's what everyone has to do. Push the dream out like doo-doo. It just has to come out. You have to get it out of your body. Sit on the toilet till you have the dream out. You have to know what you're hustling for.
Yes.
You have to visualize. Now that you have that dream, visualize what it looks like. You see, what does it look like when you become the Tyler Perry of Camden?
Actors, artists, creators.
That's obvious.
Yes.
There's gonna be actors in the movie.
Films.
There's gonna be films.
Classics here.
Be more
from
specific.
Camden.
No, it means films that make $1 billion, that gross $100 million first day. It means industry for you coming walking around the town. The town is built up because you made so many hit movies that these big actors are here, or just walking around. That's the dream. It's not only how it affects you selfishly, but how it affects everyone else that you love and the culture you're trying. The selfish dream helps everybody, but you gotta win big first. So first, the answer to independence is the visualization of what it means for you and what it means for everybody when you roll it. And then what you're gonna buy with it. What car you're gonna drive. What school your kids are gonna go to and their grandkids. What painting they're gonna have on the wall of you on Thanksgiving when you're not there. That's how visual you have to be. And when you're dreaming for lifetimes, you never stop dreaming. You never stop being inspired, because I got a 2-year-old and I'm hustling for his kid right now. Not me. I'm good. We've all been able to survive. Our dreams are bigger than us, because our dreams have to be so big that they affect us hundreds of years from now. That's how big your dream is. And that's the answer to the question. Now, the stories that come with getting there are monetizable. The stories that haven't been told are monetizable. Everything that I do is I look at it in franchise. In Star Wars, in Rocky, in toys, video games, clothes, curriculum, every vertical I could think about it into almost its insanity. If one thing doesn't make me 100 things, I'm not doing it. And that's how you stay stimulated, that's how you stay motivated, that's how you stay every-day-vated. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's the answer for that.
One more. Sean.
Respect. Good evening, everyone.
Peace.
James, I would like to ask you,
Need to dream.
my dream is for my people to wake up and become
Ah,
conscious. Selfish. My dream, I got a lot of dreams, but
Just give me one. But just one for you. The one that, this is also, the dream has to pay your grandkids' bills.
well, that's my dream of generational wealth.
How you gonna get there?
What was that dream when you did that 25 years, when everybody told you it was over and motivated you to keep strong? What's that dream, bro? And yes, you're hearing, because his point is, when you take care of yourself, like, everybody say, oh, I want to be a good mother. To be a good mother, you got to be able to take care of yourself first. So when you take care of yourself, then you can take care of your community and everyone else. But
It can't hurt you to help nobody. Listen, if you don't like the way the school is run, if you got enough money, just buy a new school.
Yes, sir.
So you have to figure, that's how big the dream has to be. Something that you love, something you would do for free that you could put in a package and sell. That's what you have to visualize, but think about it. But that's the
Okay.
thing, a lot of us don't know our dreams. We're not taught to dream, we're taught to be scared.
Yes.
And that's why the first thing we did this morning was talk to the kids and give them a book about dreaming. Because the minute you start going to someplace traditional that's trying to train you to have a job and control you, that's the day they start training you not to dream.
yes.
Like I was saying, like Pancake just mentioned, I did 25 years for something I didn't do. I'm a 2020 exoneree. And when I was in there, all I thought about was, righting the wrongs. Education would help me. Pancakes, Tone, they always gave me books to read about Mansa Musa, Idi Amin, Stephen Biko, Chancellor Williams. We constantly read, educate ourselves, and we realized that our people were once up here, and somehow they brought us down here. So I kind of want my people to come back up here, cream of the crop to rise. One of my dreams, like I said, is generational wealth. I fought hard to get out for my family, for my people, my community.
So let me just say this real quick. One of the ways that you can do what you just said is showcasing those visuals of when we were winning We need movies about that, right?
Yes, that's
Okay,
part of
so
my
there's
question.
there's Tyler Perry.
Yes.
So now, again, I'm gonna tell you real quick how to make a movie, right?
Yeah.
A movie doesn't need to be more than 70 pages because people's attention span can't do 2 hours.
Yes.
So there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is just the introduction of the characters, the middle is the conflict, and the end is the resolution.
Yes.
22, 22, 22. Start by just doing a outline, characters.
They giving y'all film
Then
people
think
game,
about
y'all.
After the characters and something in their relationship, there needs to be a conflict, and then there needs to be a resolution. That's the end. So that's all you got to do. And then you talk to her, and y'all make a movie.
Right,
Just hear me right here.
right. There we go.
The movie y'all did, Paid in Full, I love that. It was heartbreaking that was a true story. We were so brutal towards each other. But my question is, do you plan on making another movie about real life reality? You know, that's what I'm kind of.
So you should go see, you can see it on Tubi, Honor Up.
Honor Up.
And I'm working on Paid in Full, the Paid in Full effect now.
What'd you say I can see that on?
Honor
Tubi.
Up you can see on Tubi.
TV, what's that, TV?
Yeah.
Tubi's an app, so it's a free app, it's free.
I'll look at the app. I don't watch TV, but I'll look at the
Yeah,
app.
it's the app. Nobody really
Thank
watches
you, bro. I
TV no more, it's
appreciate
the
you. I
app.
appreciate the wisdom.
But I'm definitely gonna continue to make.
Peace, peace. All right, yeah, sure.
I know your story, but for the visitor, you're an audience. Can you give a little backstory as to who, where, and how you tied to Camden, the lowest of lows before you went global, and what that middle ground was like? Dame, I'm gonna play you in the movie. I'm not even worried about it.
I'm from Camden, New Jersey. Born and raised. I was born at Lady of Lourdes Hospital. Grew up on Chase Street. Went to Bonsall. I ended up staying in Bonsall till 8th grade. Inspired by hip hop, inspired by the hood. I think I was just telling T-Bird, watching his brother Rockbird and Dumont and these guys on the hill growing up. They had the outfits that I wanted. They had the cars that I wanted. It was fly. So at that time, I couldn't afford, the stuff the clothes. You know what I mean? I wanted to look like that, but I didn't have the money for those pieces. So I would make pieces, like alter clothes that I had, and just try to make it look fly. By the time I got into high school, I started playing outside a little bit so I could be able to afford to buy clothes. So I always made stuff and I bought fly stuff and kind of like incorporated those two together. So I understood nice things at an early age and I understood creating things it was like a duality there for me. High school, I started customizing clothes, then I started screen printing. Then I got into marketing, just a love of like making things cool. And I think making things cool came from not having shit.
But you're making it sound easy. The ugly part.
Yeah, it's dirty. Like you don't come out of anything muddy. Like it's still muddy. Like we in the mud. Like it's relationships that I gotta mend that's not right. It's cause everything don't work out. Most shit don't work. Like if you look at Dame over here and everybody like, oh, that's Dame. He just mentioned Paid in Full. How many movies have you shot?
Like 20, 30.
You see what I'm saying? So you shoot 30 movies to get your Paid in Full. You record 15 mixtapes to get your reasonable doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
As an entrepreneur, it's like 1 out of every 5 that work out.
Right. Sometimes 1 out of every 20, especially if nobody educated you.
Right.
You just taking loss after loss after loss until something works. So there's a lot of relationships that get hurt in there. It might be somebody might have put some money up and you couldn't recoup the money. It might be somebody helped you film the project and y'all didn't have money to put it out and now
You can't even expect to keep a relationship.
it gets deep.
Once you make your friends rich, they find a reason to hate you.
Say that again.
Once you make your friends rich, they find a reason to hate you.
So that's an eternal thing. It ain't about money. It's something else going on. It's
It's not even a
mental
It's
thing.
not even a personal thing. It's a human nature. You end up resenting the people you help. The people that you help the most resent you the most.
Now I can
That's
bear
about
witness.
based on experience.
I can bear witness to that. In the hood, I'm known to, get my couple dollars out, try to help, everybody make it. And a brother said to me, yo, you know they gonna resent you, right? I said, why would they resent me? I'm helping them. He said, you made that man feel like a woman. You took his manhood from him by giving it to him as opposed to allowing him to earn it. So that really gave me a different approach in life. I stopped giving, and now it's about earning. I don't care if you sweep up the floor, but you got to earn it now. That way I ain't reducing that man or that person to be less than. Like, you're equal, you're not less
Hate
than.
is a good excuse to cheat. So people always make up hate so that they could just cut a corner on you.
Right.
To justify sticking you. Pause. You know? That's all it is. It's just, you know, there's certain things in plays that you know and they just become corny.
Right.
So you be, I know that play. Oh, now you want to act like you're mad at me so you could go here.
Right.
You know it already.
Yeah,
you know
you
what
even
I'm
see
saying?
it coming
You
sometimes.
know the nature of the person that does. You're like, I'm not even like surprised.
Right.
You know, but I have been surprised to the extent that I'll never be surprised again. You know, it was like, you know, when you first start hustling, it just takes that one like crackhead to lie to you so much that that just tricks you so many times, that you believe so many times that you're like, I'm never believing anybody again. That's how I learned. From being lied to, I learned not to trust anybody.
Right.
I started out trusting people because I wouldn't lie to nobody.
Right.
Then it wasn't even a test. It was like, so am I going to become a liar because everyone else is? But you look stupid lying, so I don't want to look like that. So I won't ever do that. You know, being in a room full of cheaters and still playing the game fair, that's gangster.
Right.
And that's the challenge. That's the art. You know, but most of the world, they cheat. They like to take credit for things that they don't do. They overcompensate, and they use hate as a tool to cheat, as an excuse.
Understood.
No matter what, don't take it personal.
Keep that vision in the forefront and keep it moving towards it, is the bottom line. Right?
I don't want Sharon to feel bad about losing friends.
Uh.
They'll be back. Yeah, sometimes you just have, what I do is I put people in space, get into orbit. When you're ready, then you'll get back in my rotation.
They'll
But
come
until
back.
you're ready,
Yeah.
go get hit by an asteroid a couple times, but I'm not going to get the buckshot of that. There's nothing wrong with time. You know, sometimes people need to go evolve at their own pace. Just smoke weed and just chill. That's what I do. I'll be like, all right, yeah.
That's all it is, government. I think it's another area you ain't see over here, bro, where people gathered up so we can walk, shake hands. All right, thank you. This is the end of the Anthony Wade Show. Peace.